Salute, wrestling friends. Welcome to the Figure 4 TV. Now, today, Matt Riddle recently appeared on Developmental Speaking and was asked if he would return to the WWE. The former UFC star revealed he would return if they'd have him back. Check out the intro, and when we come back, guys, we're going to get straight into this.
That was just a stepping stone for Drew to do his heel turn regardless. And look at Drew killing it as the heel, the Scottish psychopath that he wanted to be, you know. And but like I said, I think the one thing I really wanted to finish was me and RK Bro. RK Bro has some untied and some loose ends, if you will. And it would be nice to finish that, even if it's just me getting punted and I leave, whatever. It would be nice to put like a period at the end of it. But at the same time, that's kind of like the story of my life. You know, in the UFC, 5-fight win streak, beating top-ranked fighters, ranked top 10 in the world at welterweight. You smoke weed, you're fired. You know, WWE, you're killing it. Your partner gets hurt, but you're kind of just the guy that gets beat up by the bloodline all the time, or what have you, which is fine. But then, you go to the airport, you have a couple cocktails, and shit goes wrong. People say stuff to you, whatever. At the end of the day, things happen. I am where I am, and I would honestly, people would probably yell at me, but I wouldn't change it for the world. That's just who I am, and you're supposed to have ups and downs, life's on a wavelength, peaks and valleys, as Tim Thatcher would say. Peaks and valleys. So, but RK Bro, I'd like to finish that, but if I don't, me and Randy are still friends. He texts me and messages me all the time, and that feels good enough. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Reports are Matt Riddle would happily return to the WWE if the company would have him back. The former United States champion was released by the WWE last year after an incident at an airport. This was followed by multiple failed drug tests and stints in rehab, leaving the company no choice but to release him. Since then, he has been competing all over the world in various promotions. Matt Riddle has wrestled in New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, and AAA Wrestling, and more, and looks to be rebuilding his career on the indie scene. Matt Riddle recently appeared on Developmental Speaking and was asked if he would ever return to WWE. The former UFC star revealed he would if the company accept him back. Yeah, for sure. If they would ever have me back, I would definitely go back. I think for me, the amount of time I was working there and the long length of time I worked there, I was just a little overwhelmed. Then having me go to rehab for a couple of months, I don't know if you know anything about rehab, but it's not a vacation, it's a brutal. If anything, I don't want to sound bad, but I think it made things worse. Going straight from there back to TV, the travel, the stress, having another kid on the way, and trying to handle everything else I do. It was just too much for me. Oh, that sounds overwhelming right there, bro. And he's honest enough to admit that it got overwhelming. He just got overwhelmed. It took one comment from one person, regardless of whether I was drunk or not. And I admit I was in the wrong in that sense. But I'm usually a pretty cool guy. If somebody crosses the line or mentions certain things about me, I'm going to go off. I paid the price, and I'm still paying the price. Matt Riddle, I'm a cult classic. I'm Evil Dead. Matt Riddle continued, he called his UFC release a blessing in disguise and implied being fired from the WWE. Matt Riddle continued, He called his UFC release a blessing in disguise and implied being fired from the WWE was the same. But you know what? I got fired from UFC for smoking weed, and it was a blessing in disguise. I got to work for WWE and became a top star. Then, when I got fired from WWE, I went to New Japan and won television titles from Tenshin Shan. I went to Mexico and beat Commander for the AAA championship. I'm about to win the MLW championship on top of Combat One championship I already have. Right now, I've got a stack of 8 championships in my house. Some people might say, yeah, but it's not WWE. And that's true, Matt. You know that. And I'm like, dude, I'm happy. Before WWE, I remember saying to my family and friends, if I never make it to WWE, I'll still be happy. My indie run, and even now, I'm like cult classic. I'm like Evil Dead. I'm not the #1 movie at the box office, but the people who watch me and know me get it and love me. That's what it's all about, dude. That's a fact, though. I love Matt Riddle energy. I always loved Matt Riddle energy, and I hope he come back. There's definitely matches lined up for Matt Riddle if he come back, and you can bring him back, heel or babyface. Yes, you can, and we still got that open storyline between the Bloodline and RKO. RK Bro. Remember RK Bro? That was a cool tag, and nobody thought that would work, and it actually worked out pretty good, though. It worked out pretty good. We never got that Randy Orton heel turn, wink, wink. Is that coming in line for Cody? Is that we saving that heel turn for Cody now? But in any event, guys, y'all let me know. Would y'all give Matt Riddle a second chance or nah? A second chance or nah? Right, guys, let's hear it from his mouth to our ears, the interview. I'll see you guys later.
There was that moment backstage
Goldberg?
with Goldberg.
Well, Goldberg, I'll say this. And me and Goldberg have talked. I'm not going to say we've hashed everything out because I'm me and he's him, you know? And I'm not a huge fan of his work. That's I'm not a huge fan of his wrestling style per se. That's all I'm going to say. I think he's great at drawing money. I think he's great at sports entertaining. I think he's an awesome action star. I saw him play as Santa Claus in a horror movie. I told him all this. I like a bunch of stuff he do. I'm just not a fan of his work, you know, and that's that. Now, I think if we wrestled, I would want to do a couple things differently, and I think it could be better, but that's a whole different can of worms. But at the end of the day, me and Goldberg don't get along because I talked some trash about his wrestling. He didn't like it. He took it as disrespect. And I said it's not disrespectful because it's true. And then he didn't like that and told me how successful he's been. And I go, you'll be more successful than I'll probably ever be in my life. But nobody's ever going to tune back in to watch like a classic like Goldberg match. They might watch a Spear compilation because they're tight, Jackhammer compilation. Cool, or maybe 1 or 2 matches. But you're not going back. You're not going back like you go back to watch Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in the Iron Man match. You know,
It's a different
or
style of
Razor
wrestler,
Shawn
yeah.
in the first ever ladder. Or I could keep continuing.
Sure.
You're not going to go back like that because he doesn't have any of those in his arsenal.
But then,
but he's still one of the best of all time. And I'm not going to argue that. And I'd say that to his face now. And he knows that. We've said that.
he's certainly one of the best in WCW for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, when it comes to drawing and making money, which honestly, this is what the business is about, he does it probably better. He can still do it better than 90% of the people that do it today.
So you say all this stuff, but then the first time you meet him, there's a camera right there.
My buddy Giancarlo was following me, and he must have knew. He's like, you're going to run into Goldberg. But yeah, and the worst part is, it looks like it's staged, but it's not. Like, I was like reading a sign, and then like, he's a pretty big dude, and he just like shoulder tackles me, and I'm just like, what? Oh, it's you. And like, I know you hate me because I talk all this trash.
Did you think he was going to punch you?
No, boy, if he did, I would have beat him up. So it wouldn't matter. He knows better, just like most people know better. And that's that. You know, it's just, but at the same time, I do respect Bill because he came up and said something. And like I said, he wasn't my bro. I thought honestly, it was just, And I think people don't realize two different eras of like combat athletes, two different eras of pro wrestling. I feel like 90s pro wrestling was like, oh, I'm going to rip your head off, right? And it worked, like at Goldberg. Now I feel like that works to an extent, but a guy like me works really well too. It's more realistic.
This is a wreck. He's moving like an uncaged animal.
No lie, he's wild in there.